Hey guys, it's Tyler here, and I have the Tyler's opinion greatest mixed martial artist of all time joining me on the show today. I'm really stoked. You guys know I make Lionheart memes, and I have put this guy's face unnecessarily on so many things. I have spammed everyone on this page, and I called Anthony out on my birthday, and I asked him to be on the show, and he was kind enough to humor me. He is the sixth ranked light heavyweight, and he will be the light heavyweight champion of the world. I know it. Anthony Lionheart Smith. Anthony, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm glad we could. I don't know. We could figure it out. I just happen to be traveling, and I got some time.
Well, it's an honor, sir. Thank you for being here. And the first question I had for you really didn't have much to do with fighting, but rather what you got going on outside of the cage. I know you're in Vegas. I know that you're going to be covering Rosenstrike versus Sakai. But my first question is like, what kind of got you into broadcasting? Because I just remember, I turned on my TV one day and like there you are in a suit and like you're talking about the fights and shit, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I was just totally thrown off. So could you describe a little bit about number one, what got you interested, and if you could also talk about your podcast and what you got going on with XM Radio?
Yeah, it was a total accident, man. I didn't even know the broadcasting was going to be something that I was going to be good at or that I would even want to do. It's crazy how in this game everything kind of just falls into place. You just kind of find your own way. So when I was getting ready to, okay, even before this, but it really started when I was getting ready to fight Shogun. Before that, I'd always noticed that my media schedules were always much bigger than everyone else's. Even guys that that I was teammates with or hung out with, that were on the same card, we'd be in similar places even on the card, and but my media schedule would be double or triple what everyone else's were. And I never understood why, until now that I'm in the media space. The guys that are interesting are guys that are willing to answer your questions and kind of entertain the media more so than others. Those are the guys that you get the big media schedule. So it's kind of fight week kind of sucks because it kind of bites you in the ass because if you're good at media, you just your reward for that is more media. So I noticed that. I noticed it then, but then when I fought Shogun, I was a big Dan Hardy fan coming up, man. Like Dan Hardy is such a G, and he was someone that I really looked up to. And I really looked up to how he was turning his fight career into something more than that. So, he had an unfortunate end to his career, at least at the time, and then he pivoted really, really nicely into the broadcasting side. So, him and I have very similar mindsets as far as how we approach breaking down fights and how we really look at the fight game. So during a fight week, we had this one part of our media schedule is it's we call it the fighter meeting. So you sit down with the commentators that are calling the fight live, the production staff like Zach Candido, my boss now, and they really just ask you essentially like how was training camp, what do you have going on, what did you change if anything, what's your game plan, and they use all that stuff for the broadcast. That doesn't go outside of that room. They just use it while you're in the octagon fighting. So Dan Hardy was calling the Shogun fight. And him and I, there's like 10 other people in this meeting. It's like me, maybe one or two of my coaches, Dan Hardy, and then like 8 suits, right? So we just end up chopping it up for like 20 minutes. These meetings are supposed to be like 15 minutes long. And 20 minutes in, Dan and I hadn't even talked to had really not even talked about my fight with Shogun. We just got wrapped up in just rapping about different fights and techniques and approaches and game plans and gyms and like we just rolled, and everyone, the production staff was like, listen guys, this is all pretty awesome to listen to, but we haven't learned anything about what your plan is. So we ended up having to like cut that and then push everyone else's meetings back and talked about the fight. And they were super fascinated by kind of like how I was approaching that fight. I took it on like 10 days notice. So then from there, I had a whole nother media thing added every single time I fought. We would do the production meeting. They wouldn't let me and Dan talk at all. We couldn't talk about anything. And then the next day we had this thing. It was pre-recorded, but they put it on like Facebook Live, and it was just that they put 2 chairs. It was super low production, 2 chairs, 2 microphones, me and Dan Hardy, and we just talked about fights. And that was like a new thing that they started. Well, Dan at the time had a show on Sirius XM, and he started bringing me in every Tuesday after every the Tuesday after every pay-per-view. They had a new segment that they created just for Dan and I. It was called The Lion's Den, and we would talk about, kind of the fallout from the pay-per-view, what I thought about the fights, what's next for the winners, what's next for the losers. And we talk about fights for one segment, and then we'd move on. Dan's schedule got super busy. He started traveling a lot. He's, I think his obligations with the UFC got heavier, and he wasn't able to do the Sirius XM show anymore. So actually my radio show on Sirius XM was passed down to me from Dan Hardy. As that stuff kind of started fizzling around, then John Jones was getting ready to fight Alexander Gustafsson. I was getting close to a title shot, and just out of nowhere, they were like, "Hey, we got this opportunity to come work the desk. Jones is fighting Gus. It's your weight class. You're probably next. Is that something you're interested in?" And like, I was terrified, bro. I didn't know anything about broadcasting. I didn't even graduate high school. I just, I'm just a small town kid from Nebraska, and I just can't say no. If someone would come up to me and say, "Hey man, we need someone to do this brain surgery," I would say yeah, because it's an opportunity and I'm going to take it. So I took it, man, and I just rolled with it. I had no experience. I had no training. Michael Bisping helped me a lot. He really saved my ass on that first show. They liked me. I didn't do a terrible job. They don't even do that anymore. They don't even take guys that have never done it and throw them in on a live show without ever having an audition or anything. So like, I was one of the last guys that got a job without having an audition first. So that's how it started, man. We've just been rolling since then.
That's crazy. I had no idea, and
Yeah, it's a super long story. I know I rambled there.
no, I thought
just to
that was,
get the whole thing.
I thought it was fascinating. I think you do like a really good job, and like I know in other interviews you've talked about having like maybe an interest in doing the cage side stuff, but I know like obviously all the seats are pretty much spoken for in the UFC, but Mike Chiesa does a fantastic job in LFA. And I was kind of, I had no idea that he did that until recently. I was like on Fight Pass and I saw Chiesa show up. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. It's just, I'm never really paying too much attention, honestly, to the commentators unless it's like you or Felder. I just kind of like, DC's DC. I'm so used to him being there. It's just I don't even really give it a passing thought. But he does a really fantastic job. And your interview with Diego, could you talk about that a little bit, Anthony? Because that was pretty like eye opening.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. I'll pull the curtain back a little bit. It took me a little bit to get that interview with Diego. Me and Diego have known each other a long time. Oddly enough, we've known each other a long time, but we don't really know each other that well. I'm not sure if there's a lot of people that do know Diego that well. So I knew there was all this stuff coming up, and I'd reached out to him a couple times. He kind of left me on red, and whatever. And typically, like at least for my Sirius show, we have a producer, we have a whole staff. A lot of times, unless it's someone that I don't want to disrespect by sending a producer to try to book them, I usually don't book my own guests. I'll just say, "Hey, I'd like to talk to so and so," and then they go and get them. But with like guys like Diego, there's a handful of other guys that I'll go to personally and be like, "Hey man, I just need you on my show." So Diego was one of those guys, and him and Joshua, it was hard to tell like who I was talking to a lot of times. Like, am I talking to Joshua Fabio or am I talking to Diego? I couldn't tell. But so I got Joshua's number and text Joshua. I'm like, "Hey, like Diego kind of left me hanging." So I was like, "I'll see if I can get Joshua on." Joshua was kind of a dick. Agreed to come on and then blew me off and then wanted to come back on. And to be honest with you, I blew him off because I kind of like, sounds kind of messed up, but like he was kind of a dick to me. So that once he wanted to come on, I was kind of like, fuck you. So Diego happened to hit me back on Instagram and was like, wanted to come on. And then he kept saying, like, how can I trust you? If I can't trust Chael, I can't trust you. And like, it's kind of, sometimes my relationship with Chael is super beneficial. And in certain situations, my relationship with Chael kind of bites me in the ass. But we booked him, man, but I kind of made a deal that I didn't have any business making. Sirius XM's behind a paywall. So in order to listen to it, you got to pay for it. And it's it's paid radio. So my deal with Diego was that we would re-air his interview in its entirety, beginning to end. He just kept saying, "I don't want to be censored. I don't want to be stepped on. I don't want anybody to cut me. Like if I say it, I want it heard as I said it." So, I didn't have any business making that deal because I had no way to re-air it, but I knew I would find a way. So, we all kind of talked as a team, and I said, "Listen, guys, like we kind of just got to let him go. Like he's going to be really hard to get in. I've interviewed him before. He's impossible to interview. He just takes the interview where he wants to. You almost have no opportunities to ask any questions. But I feel like he just needed that. So we gave him the platform, and then SiriusXM was really cool, man. They sent me um, the entire audio and the video from that interview, and I was able to post it on my own YouTube channel for the world to listen to. And so everyone that heard that's like that only should have been for SiriusXM subscribers, but SiriusXM was passionate enough and believed in getting that out there for Diego. So I think the world needed to see where he really was mentally. So I'm really glad that we were able to do that.
Yeah, it's what else is there to say? I mean, it was a fantastic story. I think everyone, it was just raw.
And that's not even anywhere close to as bad as it is. It I knew and do know a whole lot more. I just there's a lot of other players in this whole story that are completely, I don't know how to say it. They're completely uninvolved, but they've gotten drug into it, like kind of in the background a little bit, and it's hurting some of those people. And so I didn't see any positives by bringing any of that up. I didn't see any positives of talking about that, although it would have brought to light how dark and dirty of a piece of shit Joshua Fabia is. I don't think it would have done anything positive for Diego. I think it would have hurt a whole lot more people. And so even after that was over and everyone was blown away and they just couldn't believe what they heard, that doesn't even hold a candle to how bad it actually was. So the fact that Diego seen the light for himself, I don't want to take credit for that, but I think at least giving him the opportunity to get it out there and really start asking himself questions. I think that's kind of how therapy works, at least for me. It's just a sounding board. You just throw that shit out there, and sometimes your therapist doesn't really do anything. You just have to throw it out there and kind of organize it yourself, and then you leave there and realize you haven't even talked to that therapist. You just kind of figured it out for yourself.
That's how it worked for me, and that's why I have a podcast. Pandemic's hitting. I was going through a lot of I don't know, just twisted shit in my head that I hadn't been addressing for a long time. And my therapist was just like, Tyler, you talk about fighting all the time. Like, I know that's like what you like to do, and that's like pretty much the only like sport you care about. So talk to me about that. Like, what is it that you like so much about it? And I went through, I won't bore everyone to death with it, but I kind of like gave her the story, and she's just like, well, why don't you like try to involve yourself with it? I'm like, what? I'm 36 years old. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm fat. I'm out of shape. I'd get killed. No way. And she was just like, no, you idiot. Like, why don't you just talk about it? If you like talking about it so much, why don't you just do it? And then, right, because, like, because we're all bitches, kind of, we all have an objection. Like, oh, well, I don't know what I'm talking about. Or, oh, like, that sounds good. I'll never get around to doing it. But I, like, thought a lot about it. And I was just like, you know what? Like, just do it. Like, just, everyone's got an excuse. And you know what? If you suck, then you suck. And who cares? Like, who are you hurting? But you're never going to know unless you try. So stop being silly and go for it. And so I did. I started this like, golly, a month ago, and
A month ago.
Yeah, a month ago. Yep. And
Oh shit.
yeah, and she asked me. My shrink asked me. She was just like, "Well, what's one of your goals?" And I was like, "Got to talk to Anthony. If I can talk to Anthony, I'll shut the whole shit down. if everything else will just be gravy after that. That's the only thing I want to do." And then she's just like, "Well, then ask him." Like, it's just stupid, right? Like, that's how simple it is. But like, I think like we build stuff up in our heads so much, and like we make things we just are our own worst enemies sometimes. And that's what therapy helped me out with. And I like that you've been really candid about your therapy and what you've done. I think mental health is something that a lot of people don't like to talk about. It's not a comfortable thing for us to talk about, but it's important. And if you neglect it, you're an idiot. Like, get help if you like are depressed. If you are going through a rough time, this is Tyler's like PSA. Like, go get help. Um, Anthony, I wanted to ask you a little bit about this card, Rosenstrike versus Sakai. I know, we mentioned earlier that you're covering this. Is there a fight on this card, or a couple of fights on this card that you got your eye on, that you're interested in seeing?
Bro, at the moment, as you can see, I got all the numbers of every single guy on here. I got piles of paper on the floor over here. I got 3 screens set up. I am dug in like a tick over here on all these fights. There's actually some sneaky good fights on here.
There are.
I was like kind of looking through it, and like the Miguel Baeza Santiago Ponzinibbio fight, that is a goddamn banger. I haven't even made it to the point where I could even break down those 2 fights yet. I'm kind of just working my way backwards through the card. But I'm really excited about that one. Amir Khani, that dude always brings excitement. I don't really even give a shit who he's fighting. It's probably going to be exciting. I think Tom Breeze gets slept on a lot too. Tom Breeze is way better than people give him credit for.
I wrote that fight down too, and I don't know if you can see it on my notes. Right there. Yeah. Prelim fight, Ponzinibbio, Baeza, and then I have Sean Woodson and Yusuf Zalal. That's going to be a banger of a fight.
Yusuf Zalal is like long-time training partner of mine.
Yusuf's going to win, in my opinion.
He's got his hands full, though.
He does, but Sean Woodson, he doesn't do well against wrestlers. And Terrence McKinney, who's a freaking beast, and he is actually fighting tomorrow, and he follows me and he follows the show. So make sure you guys watch my boy T-Rex. He's going to win. But so McKinney fought Woodson, and I don't know if you saw that. It was an LFA, or I'm sorry, no, it wasn't. It was on the Contender Series. And T-Rex, man, like he was fighting a beautiful, beautiful fight against him, and Woodson just Jorge'd him. I mean, and that was it. But I like Yusuf's. I like his grappling a lot. I think he's gonna win. I think he's gonna figure out a way to get that win. I really like him. I think he's got a bright future.
I think he does too. He's in a must win. He's in a must win. I think he's coming off of 2 losses.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me, because that kid is so talented, man. Previous 2 fights, he just hasn't performed well.
Right. I like him. He's going through a little bit of a slump, but that guy's got a bright future. He's really exciting. I really like watching him. I kind of wanted to shift gears a little bit and pick your brain about some of the stuff that happens behind the scenes that we just don't know about in the UFC. And I'd like to get your opinion on a couple controversial things. But the first question I have is like about matchmaking. And you were on an interview, and I don't remember which one it was. I'd shout out the pod. I don't remember what it was. But you said in the interview, you can either pick the date or you can pick an opponent, but you can't pick both. Can you tell everyone kind of what you meant by that?
Yeah, when it comes to me, I'm very careful about what I ask for. I don't ask for a lot of things. They wanted to push at that time. I think we were talking. I don't remember what fight I was talking about. Maybe it was Jimmy Crute. I think it was the Jimmy Crute fight. They came to me with the opponent, and here's how I operate, and it's worked for my entire career. If you come to me with an opponent and I don't like the opponent, then I'll pick a different date. So like, okay, you want me to fight so-and-so in 6 weeks. If I don't like that opponent, it's going to take me longer than 6 weeks to get okay with it. And that's just how I am. Like, I've never said no, but I'll absolutely say, okay, same opponent, we'll do it in 10 weeks. Give me an extra month. Because some guys I just don't want to fight. And it has nothing to do with being afraid of them or being afraid of what's going to happen or thinking I can't win. It's nothing to do with that. I just didn't want to fight Jimmy Crute because I just didn't want to fight Jimmy Crute. He didn't excite me. I wasn't super pumped when I got that phone call. I wasn't that just wasn't, I don't know. I just wasn't excited about it. Um, so, and I didn't like the date. Like it was only like 3 or 4 weeks or something like that. And I just didn't like the date. So that's kind of how I operate. Okay, cool. I'll take the fight, but it's on my time. And that's kind of how I've been operating lately. Like they've wanted me to fight Ryan Spann for a long time. Okay, cool. I'll fight Ryan Spann, but I'm going to do it when I want to do it. Like I've been in this game a long time. I think I've put the work in. I think I've put the miles on the road. Um, it's kind of on me. Like if Ryan Spann wants that opportunity, then he'll wait until I'm ready. And that's just kind of how I've approached it. But I think some of these other guys, they think they have more control than they do. And how I've operated is, or at least how I've approached my career, is that you have to give the UFC, like you have to give them the ultimate respect. So instead of me saying, no, I'm not fighting that guy, like it's way easier to say like, okay, honestly, I don't really want to fight that guy. I will, but can you give me some more time? It's way easier to do that. Like they still get what they want. And at the end of the day, you still get what you want. But like, guys like John Jones, they're kind of like, fuck you. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what I want. Well, like, who's that ever worked out for in the history of ever? It didn't work out for Tyron Woodley. It's not working out for John Jones. It didn't work out for Randy Couture. Name your athlete. It didn't Chuck Liddell. It didn't work for any of those guys. Tito. It's never worked. So,
Anthony, do you think that whole he's going to heavyweight now. He left your division, right? And he's going to heavyweight. Do you think like him recently saying like, the whole shebang is a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. I'm not going to fight again until 22. Is that bullshit? And do you think he's just talking shit because he's a pain in the ass to deal with?
yeah, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. When John Jones was at 205, he would get it. He would get to 240. Like that, he is monstrous. That dude is huge. I'm every bit of 220, 225. I'm 6'4". You guys all seen what I look like across from John Jones. He is not a small man. Um, so the fact that he's making it pretending like he's having a hard time putting the weight on. John Jones is 255 right now, probably 250. If he's not 250, I'd cut my own head off. There's no way he's not 250 pounds already. So I think that this is his way of backing down without backing down. Instead of saying, "Oh, I'm losing this negotiation battle," it's easy to say, "Well, I'll just step out for a year and come back and see what happens." That's my opinion.
So,
Which is smart, honestly.
getting into like flipping scripts a little bit, I wanted to ask your opinion about weight and like weight classes in general. There's a lot of like talk about weight cutting, and it's kind of like a hot button topic for a lot of people. And I think it was Paul Felder who was saying like, I should have like been more disciplined with my diet. It came to like bite me in the ass, and like my life basically just would have been a whole hell of a lot easier had I stuck to like a nutritional game plan earlier on in my career. And not to be that guy, but I feel like there are a lot of like the ladies in particular, for obvious reasons, that have some more problems making the weight. So we hear about them missing weight all the time, but there was this dude, I honestly for the life of me can't remember, but like he missed weight by like 10 pounds or something egregious like that. And then he said like his wife had a miscarriage. The Brazilian dude, do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So my question, Anthony, is do you see a problem with like the amount of weight classes that we have right now? Should there be more? Should there be like, are you satisfied with the status quo? Because, the jump from 185 to 205 is massive. And I know, when we'll get to this here in a second, but I don't even know how the hell you made, even when you were like 24 years old, I don't know how you made 185. I don't, you're a big dude. That must have sucked. Like, you're pretty big. And that just seems impossible. So my question is, what's your thought on that? Should we add, subtract, status quo?
Yeah, that's a really tough one, man. Of course, personally, like selfishly, I wish there were more weight classes. I'm a I'm a little undersized, for light heavyweights. I mean, I'm clearly I'm figuring it out, but I think if we were a little more comparable in size, I think I would have a little bit of an easier time. So that's just a selfish take. I think a 195 would suit me a lot more. A 198, 190, like something like 97, 98, something like that would suit me a lot better. I think it would fit my frame a lot better. I would still have a weight cut, but I don't think that extra 10 or 13 pounds or whatever would make a huge difference. I think I could adjust my diet and wouldn't really cut so much and be maybe fighting guys that were more comparable to my size. But the cut to 185 is too far. It's just way too far. It was miserable for years and years and years. And I think Paul Felder's not giving himself enough credit, to be honest with you. I think he's being a little too hard on himself. The ending, my middleweight career ending was a medical decision. It had nothing. I would have kept doing it, but my organs were starting to store fat around them to prepare themselves for the ensuing famine. So I was gaining more weight. It didn't matter what I was eating. It didn't matter how strict my diet was in the off season. Anything that had any amount of fat in it was getting stored around my organs because my organs were preparing for that feast and famine mode where I'm not cutting anymore. So I eat like a normal human. And then we start getting close to cutting and I crash and my body is in this famine mode. So it's just storing everything that it possibly can to feed off of. It wouldn't matter what my diet looked like. That was going to happen. So I don't think Felder's giving himself, I think he's being a little hard on himself, but I think to his point, I think if everybody moved up, I think not only would the fights be more exciting, but I think the fighters would be happier. I'm telling you, if you moved every single fighter in the world up one weight class, the excitement level in the UFC would go through the roof. Because honestly, my whole career at 85, I was just tired. I was just really tired all the time, and it messes with you mentally. Like,
I could
you got a big fuck it button. Like when you're in there, you just like you're tired. You just almost killed yourself, and then the next day you wake up and you're like you don't even give a shit. You're like, I don't care if I win. I don't give a shit if I lose. I'm fucking tired. I'm sick of this shit. I don't want to do this anymore. Then you get in there and fight, and you kind of just have that same moment. You're just getting punched in the face, but you're too goddamn tired to move your head. Once I moved to 205, I was like, holy shit, these fight weeks are kind of fun. I don't mind talking to the media, like hanging out, eating cheesecake and shit. It's been a blast, man. It's been a lot of fun since I moved up.
Yeah, and like I can just that just blows my mind. Like I wish there was a little bit more flexibility. And for the heavyweights, I was talking to Juan Adams not that long ago. Really cool
That's
guy.
a big dude.
He's a teddy bear, man. I love Juan Adams. He's so cool. He's gonna come back, but anyway, that's a story for another day. Talking to him about just the heavyweights in general and the 265 cap, and I asked him, I was like, "What are your thoughts about just taking off the cap?" I was like fuck it for heavyweight, why not? And he was just like, 285, make it 285, like. Or like he did kind of say that. He was like 265 for heavyweights is way too low. Look at me, like I'm a big dude. Like there's a lot of us that are huge, and we have to cut weight. Like a lot of us have to cut weight, so it's kind of like a misnomer. Like, oh, heavyweights aren't cutting. Look at Juan Adams. Yes, he is. Derek Lewis is a massive man, and he talks about like having to drink a bunch of laxatives and all other kinds of crazy shit just to make the weight. It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, I would like to see a little bit more weight classes. And for you in particular, you're in this weird no man's land. You're too big for 185, and at like your age and just kind of like where you are, I don't think it's realistic for you to make 185. And so like a 195
at this point, I'd rather retire.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That would be grueling. And you'd lose so much of your strength. And I think you're so much better at 205 anyway. But you are at like a competitive disadvantage because a lot of people are a lot bigger than you. So having that flexibility, I think, would be cool. My second controversial question, I'm sure you're guessing exactly what it is. What are your thoughts on open scoring?
Man, I'm all about it. I'm all about the open scoring. I think that it does have its problems, but it doesn't have any more problems than the bullshit we're dealing with now. So, um, I'm not typically a guy that goes to decisions a bunch, so I haven't ever been burnt by the judges before. But I just, I think knowing though would change how I fought. I think you, I think Dana thinks you run the risk of seeing guys get up 2 rounds and then coast in for 1 round. I think he does miss the fact that the guy that's down 2 rounds, that could be a great opportunity for him to really need to push and try to chase a finish. Um, it definitely has its downfalls, but I'm all about it, man. I do think it would be fun. It kind of reminds me of some blood sport shit, like when the judges are up there and then they like throw their names up and like people go crazy because of the matchup. I think like that same concept, but with open scoring would be super exciting.
I think that so I asked Juan that very question, and I'm gonna keep asking fighters if I get the chance. And this is kind of like what I came back with. So Invicta, they did that, but like it was they would tell the coaches, they would tell your coach what the score was. Somehow, like they had an earpiece in, or somebody would tell your coach, and then it was at your coach's discretion if they would tell you. And I don't know if we at home need to know, but like that to me sounds like a pretty comparable, or that sounds like a good compromise. Like leave it up to your coach, and your corner will tell you what the score is if they feel like it or not. And that kind of like keeps the intrigue at home. Like I kind of like not knowing, but if the coaches knew, I think that's like a good compromise, personally.
Yeah, I can't think of another sport where the athletes don't know the score.
Right.
Like why? I guess I don't know why we can't know. I do think that the coaches knowing is in them I don't know making the decision for themselves
I don't
whether
want to
they're going to tell the
know.
fighter or not.
For
You don't
me,
think so?
well, no, for you, yeah. Like
Yeah, I definitely want to know.
like you would want to know, yeah. But me at home, like I like kind of guessing and like, I mean,
Imagine if
why?
there was a football game and nobody knew the score,
That'd be dope.
or like basketball. That'd be crazy. Like the time just runs out and they're like, "All right, the Wizards won." You're like, "What
Yeah.
the fuck? I don't think I lost count. I guess."
Keep trying, keep scoring more. I don't know, but no, I think for me at home, like I kind of like the drama of it, like kind of the not knowing, and it's kind of like that surprise. But like for you guys, yeah, it would make sense. But for me, I don't want to know personally. I like not knowing. Um, that's just me. I'm weird. I know. I wanted to kind of shift gears, Anthony, and talk about you now. And man, like since the pandemic, there's been a lot of things that have been going on with you, and you've talked about it a lot. You've talked about that idiot breaking into your house and all that other crap that was going on, and then we you came upon two absolute freaking beasts, Glover and Rackage. And before I talk about Glover, I want to say this. I had tickets to that. I was going to go to Lincoln for that. Dude, I got like the most baller tickets I could afford. Because I was like, I need to see this guy. I need to see him. I don't fucking care what the tickets cost. I'm going. Like, do you want to go? So, like, my brother and I, we were like, okay, cool. I spent an obscene amount of fucking money for those tickets, too. And then they canceled that shit. I was so butthurt. I was just like, God damn it. But anyway, that story for another day. Every time, they announce a fight, like, I Google, like, where is it? Like, I can I go? Like, Abu Dhabi, it's a passport, right? I'll go. But so you fought Glover, and Rakic, and like without like you've talked enough about those fights, so no need for like a further post mortem. But like the sentiment, like the question about 185 came back, and you were like, no, I'm not doing that. I need some time off. I need to talk to my coaches. I kind of need to like figure out what's next. And me being like a guy that's been watching you since like Strikeforce, a little bit of Bellator, just all the everything I could get my hands on just over the years and stuff. You just look different to me, having watched every single one of your fights. you just didn't look like the guy I've been watching forever. Like, and I'm not talking about the fighting so much. I'm talking about like your body language, like your mannerisms. It didn't seem like you really. I don't. I wouldn't go as far as to say it wasn't like you didn't want to be there, but it just seemed like your head was somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah, it was. It was. I think like in hindsight, I thought that I was there and that I was okay. It's kind of when the real heavy therapy stuff started was after all of that. I It's like the lights were on, but no one was really home, and it wasn't just in fighting that I was like that. I was like that in my personal life. I was like that with my friends. I was kind of reclusive. Not that I was like sitting around moping and feeling sorry for myself or whatever, but I just wasn't super engaged in anything. Eventually my wife was kind of like, "What in the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you're not out in the garage working on your razor. You're not like tearing something apart and putting it back together. You're not drinking beer with your friends in the driveway." Like I just wasn't. I don't know, man. I just wasn't there. Um, and I think it was just a culmination of things. I think that my shell cracked a little bit when I lost to John Jones because I was so sure I was going to win, and I just, I'll tell the story someday. But like in my mind, I didn't get a fair shake at it, and that bothered me for a long. If John Jones beat me fair and square, like fuck it, it is what it is. I'll get back to it and we'll do it again. It's like I told John Jones, he said he beats me 9 times out of 10, and I said, oh, we got 9 left. Like, even if I don't beat you, I'll outlast you and I'll be here when you're gone. Like, I'll get to the title one way or the other. So if he beat me fair and square, and like at least in my own head, if I just got beaten, that's what it is, then that's what it is. But I just didn't feel like I wasn't there, and it's like the worst performance of my life. And I just feel like I didn't get a fair shake at it. So, I thought that maybe I could fix it by going and just, they offered the Gustafson fight like the Monday after John Jones, and I was really pissed off. Like, I hung the phone up on everybody that called trying to get me to take the fight, because I was like, no, fuck you, I'm not doing it. Um, and then eventually, me, like, I did it. But I thought that maybe I would shake all that stuff after that, and then I had the hand injury, and then 5 weeks later, I went back for my checkup, and the plate had broken and the bone had shifted again, so they had to do it again. Um,
Which hand
Fast
was
forward,
it? The grenade hand?
my left hand,
Is
the
that
other
the
one.
grenade hand?
Yep, no, it's the other one.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I just had a hard time, like, with I don't know. I felt like, all right, maybe we got this ball rolling again. And then I had the 2 surgeries, and fast forward, I was out almost a year, and then, then the break-in happened, and like, I was okay for the most part, but like my family was a fucking disaster. Like, even now, like 2 days ago, I was sitting in my basement playing video games, and my 6-year-old woke up crying hysterically and like wanting me to check the doors, and like they're still messed up by it still to this day. It was over a year ago. So there's that, and then just a bunch of stuff, a bunch of personal stuff, and it's like it's nothing crazy. That's the weirdest part. It's like my family life is intact. My marriage is wonderful. My friendship group is great. Like, I wish I could tell you that there's like this huge thing just looming over me that I just can't shake, but it's not. It's just a bunch of shit. Um, and it all just, not to get too deep, but it's all stemming from childhood shit, and I fucked up growing up, and it just was all bad. And like, I explain it with the cup analogy, and I don't know if you've heard me talk about this, but for your listeners, my entire life I've had this big cup, and I don't ever deal with anything. And I think that's why people look at me and say he just shakes it all off. He's always moving forward. Like, a lot of the time it's because I'm not dealing with it either. I just put it in the cup and I'll deal with that shit later. I do it really bad through training camp. Like, I got all these meetings and people want to talk to me, and like I'm there, but I'm not paying attention. I just chuck that shit in there, and someone take notes and I'll read it later. Like, I'll go an entire training camp and have no, like, and at the end of the training camp, my wife's like, all right, you got this and this and this and this and this and that. I'm like, what in the fuck are you talking about? She was like, you had all these meetings and like you were there. I was like, not really. Like, so I'm like catching up on the last 8 weeks because I have no idea what was going on, because I'm just so focused on what I have in front of me. So I also do that with my problems. Like, if I'm too busy to deal with it, or I don't have time, or I don't have the mental capacity to deal with it, I just, John Jones went in the cup, and then the hand injuries went in the cup, and then the second surgery went in the cup, and then the break-in, and then the pandemic, and then the uncertainty, and then I lost the fight in my home state, and then like then the Glover fight happens, and that was a total shit show. And then, but I was already kind of suffering from all the stuff, like my mindset and my focus and kind of where I was personally was already messed up going into the Glover fight. I was just faking it. I just didn't know I was faking it, if that makes any sense. So then the Glover fight went in the cup, and then the Rakic fight happens, and like I knew I probably shouldn't have been fighting right away, because I started to figure out, like, fuck, it might just be me. Like, it's not physical, it's not technical ability, it's not skill set. Like, I'm just scramble brained right now, and I don't know which way is up or down. But like, the UFC needs me in fight, so fuck it, I'm gonna run in and do it again. And then once that happened was like my breaking point. It was like, I can't keep doing this. Like, I'm gonna retire, or I'm gonna figure this out. Like, and then I like tell him, retire? Are you serious? You haven't won a world title yet, dummy. So it's like, that's not even an option. So like, I have to figure it out. And then I just took a step back, man, and just kind of looked at everything from 30,000 feet, and just, I'm not one of those guys that make excuses, like, not to get on my soapbox here, but the quickest way to figure out any problem you'll ever have in your entire life is look in the mirror first. You see a lot of these fighters, they lose fights, or they have a rough performance, and everybody looks at their coaches and their gym, and they want to switch training partners, they want to switch coaches, and they go to across the world to live somewhere else. And eventually your problems will follow you there. If you have a comparable team, I'm not saying you can never switch gyms, or you never should. There's lots of reasons to switch gyms. But just losing a fight it shouldn't be the number one reason. So that's never what I've done. I've always looked in the mirror first. And I have switched gyms. Like, eventually I've come to the conclusion that maybe I got to go somewhere else. But I don't think that is and ever will be the case. I think that I'm at where I'm at for the rest of my career. But yeah, man, it was tough. It was tough. It's still, the Glover and Rakic thing still bothers me, because those are two guys that I shouldn't have lost to.
Yeah, I thought that. I looked at that, and for the Rakic one in particular, especially just with the Glover fight, how it went, I was kind of surprised when I heard it, like that fight was going down and you were fighting so soon after that. There was a lot of weird shit that happened about the Glover fight, and then you had like every single fat guy on the couch basically saying like, oh, his coaches are shitty, like, oh, he needs a new coach, like they shouldn't have let him go back out there,
he should retire,
he should go to 185. Like, there was just all kinds of like dumb shit that people were saying after that. And then flash forward for Devin. Can you talk a little bit about like how Devin came into the fold and how that fight kind of came together?
Yeah. I was originally supposed to fight Ryan Spann, and or no. I was supposed to fight Misha Serkinov. That's who I had signed the contract to fight, was Misha Serkinov. It hadn't been announced yet. And then Misha, this is funny. I've never told this story. Misha Serkinov decided that I was too tough of a fight and wanted to fight Ryan Spann instead. Like, he didn't back out because of an injury, or he was sick, or he had COVID. He literally backed out because it was too tough of a fight, and then fought Ryan Spann. And then we seen how that went. Ryan Spann knocked his block right off his shoulder. So he might have been safer with me, because I don't hit like that guy hits. That's for sure. I might have just choked the shit out of him. But so yeah, then I needed an opponent. So Devin Clark was available. They asked me, and whatever.
I like Devin. I do. I think
too.
I think he's a cool dude. And I don't like it when you fight guys I like, because it's like, well, fuck you, Devin. Like, sorry, like, like we'll be like, I'll like you again after this fight, but like, it is what it is. Your groundwork is like kind of like, that's the fight. I say, I'm like, okay, well, if you don't think he's good on the ground, like Devin Clark, that was exclusively a ground fight right away. And Devin's a wrestler, and a really good one at that, and he's a really, really strong dude. But like, your jiu-jitsu was like no one really talks about that, and I never really understood why, because you have a lot of submission victories under your belt. Like, you've been doing it time and time again, and I don't know. I guess I never really understood that, but that triangle you put up on him it was definitely a chess match. Like I had to watch it in slow motion a few times. It was very technical. Um, what I thought was super awesome that you did was when you like Devin is massive. Like he's a lot bigger than you. Like his legs are like this, like
He's huge.
wider than my body. Like that guy's huge. And the one thing that stood out to me is like, oh, you don't think Anthony's strong? You don't think he's got a ground game? Like he grabbed his ass and like moved him into the center of the octagon because he didn't want him to like use the cage to like stand back up. So I never really understood that, and then again the ground game thing, like you put him in a choke like right away. You didn't even take any damage at all. And I think Devin is I think he's a good fighter. I did not think that was a gimme fight for you. Um, I was just like when it got announced and it came up, I was like, damn, like that's actually probably going to be a good fight. But it wasn't. Like you just ended it like right away. But yeah, that I thought that was Devin's a cool guy. I hope he comes back soon. I know he got hurt, but I hope he comes back soon. And after that, Jimmy was supposed to fight that Brazilian dude, the showboat guy.
Johnny Walker.
Yeah, that guy. He's an interesting guy.
He's kind of a douchebag.
You know what? He's not going to be on my show. So, so I could probably say what I want to say. He's an exciting guy, but I think he is an immature guy, and he doesn't really act like a professional. You showboat
like an adult.
Showboat, do what you want. Like you're the shit. Everyone knows that, but like fucking yourself up celebrating, like come on, man. Like that's I don't know. It's just like at the UFC level, like you're just not that shit's not supposed to happen. And then he's like doing the worm and then he hurts himself. Like I laughed. I don't typically laugh when people get hurt, but I laughed at that point because I was just like, this guy's such a fucking idiot. But anyway, so he was supposed to fight Jimmy, right? And then you replaced him. Is that right?
Yeah. Then it was. It was one of those things. Like they offered me Jimmy Crew. I said, yeah, but I'm not fighting him in like a month. I wasn't ready to fight. I wasn't ready to get into training camp. So we pushed it way back, and he was willing to wait.
As soon as you kicked him and saw him limping around, what was going through your mind?
I was surprised he was still standing after the first one. I think people missed that first one. If you go back and you look 10 seconds before the kick that put him down, I crushed him with a really hard calf kick right in the exact same spot right before that. And he kind of blitzed me, so it actually hid the fact that I landed the kick as hard as I did. But he let me off the cage, and that's when I knew right away, because that's where he'd been wanting me the entire time, was trying to trap me on the fence. So once he got me there, and then he backed up himself, and then he kind of like, it's really subtle. It's really subtle. If a fighter shows you that something hurts, it hurts way more than they showed you, because typically we do a really good job of hiding stuff and having poker faces. But he did step on it gingerly a couple times, so I just went right back to it. And I'm such an, I've said this before, I'm such an idiot. Like I just dove right onto a takedown. Like just sometimes my killer instinct just gets the best of me. But what a tough ass kid though. Like I just kept trying to get to my feet. And he was crazy strong too. I don't know what it is with these young guys, but him and Devin Clark, they got the grips of gorillas. It was insane trying to get up from these guys. But yeah, man, I knew it was a means to an end. Like I was already dicing him with the jab, and he was really struggling with it. I've never rocked anybody with the jab before, so I knew that he was really struggling with the speed and just the timing of it, and it just really felt like a man fighting a boy. Like, and that's essentially what it is. I've been doing this a long time. He just didn't have an answer for it, and he wasn't gonna have the answer for it, so it was only gonna get worse from there.
He reminds me of you, honestly. Like
Very much so.
Way
Very
back
much
in
so.
the
Like
day.
his approach, his mindset, his kind of the way that he seems to approach the game, the respect he has for the veterans. He very much reminds me a lot of myself at his age, and I told him that. in the octagon. Like I told him that he reminds me a lot of myself, and I told him that he's way better at this point in his career than I was when I was his age. He's far, far, far ahead of where I was when I was his age. So he's got a bright future. We talked and hung out in the hotel. We had a bunch of beers afterwards, watching the rest of the pay-per-view. Super cool cat. You know, he kind of got in his feelings, did some crazy ass interviews afterwards, but I get it. He's young. He's in his feelings. He was in quarantine at a hotel by himself for 14 days. Like, I don't take any of that shit personal. You know, it just, I think he knew the same thing I knew. Like, we had like a 4-step game plan, and I never had to even shift into second gear. It was the jab was to set the range and start setting up everything else. But my coaches never even had me go to step 2 because step 1 was doing just fine.
I knew he was fucked before the fight even started. And the reason why is because, like, I'd never seen you show up to a fight like that. Like, the crowd was back, and, like, you were just, like...
I got the chills just thinking about it right now.
Like, you reminded me of, like, my son who, like, comes down the stairs on, like, Christmas morning. Like, that's what you looked like coming down. Like, you were just... Dude, you were so amped. And I was just like, this kid is fucked. Like, he was just like, he wants, like, he's gonna have a fun time. And like, I don't know, like, for all your walkouts, like, that is the one that just sticks out in my head. Like, I've never really seen you like that before, but you just looked like, I don't know, like a kid on Christmas morning is the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, I was happy. I was happy. It was the first time I'd been happy, like truly, truly happy, I think, since John Jones. Like, since that title fight and kind of the start of my whole cup filling bullshit, I'd finally like come out on the other side of the tunnel, and I was like personally, I was really happy. Like, not that I was unhappy personally before, but like things in my personal life are going really well. Business wise, stuff is going really well. Mentally, I'm clear. I'm not carrying any baggage. I wasn't then, and I'm still not now. I'm not hiding anything. Like, I don't know. I feel like I just got out of prison, kind of. Like, I'm just not carrying any bullshit with me anymore. And I kind of worked it out, and a lot of it is I'm just not hiding it anymore. Like, if I have bad days, I just tell everybody. Just, today's one of those days. I'm having a shit day, and I don't hide it. I don't put it in that cup, and I just deal with it.
A lot of people thought you were gonna lose that fight, and I was just
weird,
like,
right?
I was just like, I live in Virginia. I'm in Virginia right now, and they just legalized sports, like mobile sports betting. Mm-hmm. I bet a lot of money on you because I was just like, you were the underdog.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it either.
You were like, I don't remember what exactly I got you at. I think it was like I got you at like plus 200 or something like that. I'm like, that's
Jesus.
I was like, that's ridiculous. I was like, yeah, I will definitely put a little wager on that. So I had a nice steak dinner courtesy of you. Thank you for that very much.
Well, you're very welcome.
So Anthony, I wanted to, before I let you go, I wanted to ask you a little bit about like what's next for you. Like, obviously September 4th we got Jan and Glover, and then I presume Yuri is gonna fight whoever wins that. Whoever wins, right? I guess Yuri's next in line. So for you, without giving too much away, does it make sense to like wait until after that fight, that title fight's in the dust, for you to make your next move? Like how are you kind of looking at it? Because you're number 6, you're maybe one fight away from like being next, for being called up. It's so like, what makes sense for you? Like, are you thinking like Reyes or Thiago? Maybe run it back with Thiago.
Personally, I would love to fight Thiago again. I'm not going to chase Thiago because honestly, a win over Thiago right now doesn't do me anything. He's coming off of 3 losses. Reyes is also coming off of 3 losses. So I don't even count those guys right now until they're coming off of a win. And that's the honest, because it doesn't do anything for me to be the 4th loss for one of those guys. That doesn't get me a title shot. I might as well fight one of these young up and comers that's winning. Um, I do actually already have a fight lined up. It's already booked. It's not announced. It's not public. Um, so I'm going to fight again. I think I got kind of wrapped up in this whole title, that whole title picture and the talk about it. And I put a lot of pressure and stress on myself. I'm not even going to worry about what those guys are doing for the title, man. I'm just going to fight the guy that's in front of me. Um, Personally, I hope Glover wins. I don't really have a dog in that fight. I don't really care, but I think that all would be right in the world if a guy like Glover Teixeira can finish his career as champion of the world at least one time. I think that he deserved it. I think that he's done everything right his entire career. He's treated people right. He's respectful. He's passing his knowledge on to younger people in his gym. He's a good husband. He's a great father. I can't say enough nice things about Glover Teixeira as a person, and I hope that someday I can see him stand up there with a big gold belt on his shoulder because I think he deserves it.
He's a class act, even though he kind of pissed me off, but it's all good. Like,
He's pissed me off a couple times too. If you can imagine.
well, I mean, this is just me talking shit. It was just like, hey, man, like you beat my guy, like fuck you. but it's all good. I mean, I do agree. In all seriousness, he's a great guy, and I think it's a testament.
He's one of the best humans that I've ever met. He's really that guy. And on the flip side, so is Jan Blachowicz. That dude is a great guy. Incredible husband. Just had a baby, I believe. I got some European friends that say nothing but great things about him just as a person. Loves to drink beer, so me and him would get along just fine if we weren't in the same weight class. I'm sure we'd have a lot of fun drinking some of the Polish heavy beers, but he's another one of those guys. He's done it right. He doesn't disrespect people. He's not one of those guys that's trying to make his name trash talking. Obviously, if he gets into it with someone, like, he was an asshole just like I was an asshole to Luke Rockhold. So he'll stick up for himself, but he's not going out picking fights for no reason. I can respect that. I think that he really carries that championship mentality. I think that he carries himself like a champion, and I appreciate that. And I think our division really needed someone like that. So as far as those guys go, I don't really care who wins. I hope it's Glover, just because then you get, even when both of those guys retire, then they're both champions. So like they both get a piece of that championship pie, and they can go on, right? They're both older, totally fine. So as far as me, like, maybe I am one away, but I'm just not going to worry about it too much. Like, I think I just was in such a hurry, and I just was racing to the title as fast as I could get there. And honestly, man, I'm doing okay over here, just knocking these heads off of these young up and comers, and the paychecks are the same. So like, whether it's Devin Clark or John Jones, the paychecks were exactly the same. So I'm okay with that. And I'll wait my turn. I'm not gonna get into some bidding war and some big old argument. I'm not gonna race into a title fight that, like when I took the John Jones fight, it was like 5 weeks away or 6 weeks out. Like, that's a huge fight to have to get ready for in 6 weeks. So I think if that situation popped up again and it was like, you get a title shot, it's 5 weeks away, I'd probably say no. I want that kind of stuff to be on my terms. I want it to be, the timing needs to be right. I'm not in a huge rush like I was before. I got plenty of time. I'll be 33 next year, man. I got some time.
Wow. It's hard to believe.
33 next month.
33 now. I think you're just like getting into like your prime. Like, you're a much more intelligent fighter than where you once were. I think you're
I said it after the Jimmy Crute fight. I think I'm just now getting good.
Yeah. Like, obviously, like, the talent and athleticism was always there, but like it's like up here. Like, it's totally different. You're a lot more like, I don't know if methodical is the right word, but I just think like your fight IQ and like your patience, that has made a huge difference in your game.
I think the analyst work has helped with that a lot.
Yeah, and
just really being patient, watching so many damn fights and how people approach them, and it's just really made me a smarter fighter. And I'm not in a big rush like I used to be.
No, and for me, I want to see you fight Reyes personally. I think that'd be a fantastic fight.
I would fight Reyes exactly the way that Yuri did.
Yeah,
I thought it was a fantastic game plan.
I,
Just get in his face and be mean to him.
yeah, I would like to see that. I think it would be dope. Yeah, I want to see that. So that would be on my wish list for you, Anthony. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Really appreciate your time. You're an absolute legend, and I hope we can do it again sometime soon.
Thanks a lot, man. I look forward to coming back on.
All right, thank you. All right, stop recording.